Night. Welcome to the University of Kentucky, for those of you who are not normally on campus. My name is Beth Barnes, and I'm the director of the School of Journalism and Telecommunications, which is one of the sponsors of tonight's event. And I want to recognize our college dean, David Johnson, who is a great supporter of the activities of our various college groups. Our purpose this evening, as you probably know, is to discuss with the candidates for State Attorney General their positions on enforcement of the state's open records and open meetings laws. One of the foundational principles of a democracy is open government. And to paraphrase the preamble of Kentucky's open meeting laws, it is public policy that the people's business should be conducted in public. Among the duties of the state's Attorney General is the oversight of our sunshine laws. If a public agency declines to make a record available to any citizen, that citizen can appeal the denial to the Attorney General's office. If a public agency improperly goes into executive session, or holds a meeting without properly notifying the public, citizens may report this action to the Attorney General. And this does happen. In 2006, the Attorney General's office received 370 appeals concerning the denial of records and 13 appeals about meetings. Of the 370 appeals on records denial, the person requesting a record did receive some or all of the records in 196 of the cases. The Attorney General's office also issued 8 opinions that public bodies had violated the open meetings law. The Attorney General's office has 2 full-time attorneys and another who works part-time handling open record and open meeting appeals. The number of appeals has increased more than 25% in 2 years, perhaps due to the education efforts of the Attorney General and also increased media attention to sunshine laws that we've had here in Kentucky. Now, obviously, the job of Attorney General covers a wide variety of areas, but our focus tonight is specifically on open records and open meetings. Because this topic of open government is so fundamental to good government, and because it is seldom addressed directly during Attorney General campaigns, the Scripps Howard First Amendment Center, the Institute for Rural Journalism and Community Issues, our university chapter of the Society of Professional Journalists, and the Bluegrass Professional Chapter of the Society of Professional Journalists, and the School of Journalism and Telecommunications invited the candidates for Attorney General to this conversation tonight. Before I introduce our moderator, I want to recognize and thank several people. First, the president of our campus Society of Professional Journalists chapter, Shannon Mason. Shannon, I saw you. Where are you? Back in the back. The president of the Bluegrass SPJ chapter, John Nelson, who's down here in front, because he's our timer. Al Cross, the director of the Institute for Rural Journalism and Community Issues. And Mike Farrell, the director of our Scripps Howard First Amendment Center. We're very pleased to have Judy Claibs serve as our moderator tonight. Judy is the president and chief executive officer of the Scripps Howard Foundation, and she has been honored at the national level for her work in improving journalism and journalism education. She's always been an advocate for education. She was a teacher herself for a while. She worked with the Newspapers in Education program as part of her journalism career, and she worked tirelessly to improve education in Kentucky while she was the editor of the Kentucky Post. During that time, her editorship of the Post, she was responsible for the creation of our First Amendment Center here at UK. And last fall, she received our first James Madison Award for her service to the First Amendment. Judy is also a member of the Kentucky Journalism Hall of Fame, and she has been a great supporter of the School of Journalism and Telecom, and we're very proud that she is one of our graduates. So thank you, Judy, for agreeing to moderate tonight. Before we turn the program over to Judy, we want to introduce the candidates. And there is no better person in this room to take on that role than Al Cross, longtime political reporter for the Louisville Courier-Journal, who, as I mentioned before, is now the director of our Institute for Rural Journalism and Community Issues and a faculty member at our school. And I suspect that several of the candidates are glad that all he's doing is introducing them that way. So, Al?
Thank you, Beth. Yes, I tell people that I'm not a reporter anymore, but I did have to do a little reporting in order to make these introductions, and I'm pleased to tell you that I found out something significant about each individual. So we'll introduce them coming this way. Robert Bullock of Frankfort has been in the private practice of law since 2000 after serving as an assistant attorney general of Kentucky for 32 years under 8 different attorneys general. He is running on his record in the Attorney General's office, which he says is the most extensive of any Attorney General candidate ever, and says he will not use the office to promote a political agenda. He was the director of the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division 3 separate times and was among the drafters of the Kentucky Consumer Protection Act. He was director of the office's civil division and manager of its litigation branch, and also worked in the criminal appellate division and argued cases before the U.S. Supreme Court. Before his state service, Mr. Bullock was an attorney for the Federal Trade Commission. His published Master's of Law thesis at Cleveland State University was on merchandising through the use of lotteries. He also has degrees from UK in law and psychology. He has been a member of the Federal Reserve Board's Consumer Advisory Council, has taught consumer and personnel law at Kentucky State University, and was a contributing author for a 2005 book, Consumer Law in Kentucky. He's a native of northern Kentucky, is married, and has 4 children and 4 grandchildren. Let's welcome Mr. Bullock. Jack Conway is an attorney in Louisville, his hometown. He was the 3rd District Democratic nominee for Congress in 2002 after 6 years in senior positions for Governor Paul Patton. He says that as a private attorney, he represents victims of irresponsible behavior and last year won one of Jefferson County's largest ever civil verdicts. He says he's running for Attorney General to promote safety and ensure justice. In state government, Mr. Conway helped formulate higher education reforms, worked on school safety laws, and helped write legislation for tougher sentences on violent offenders. He also worked on environmental issues, led a review of electric generation in the state, and worked on a bipartisan plan for cleaning up the Paducah gaseous diffusion plant. At St. Xavier High School, he was outstanding senior and national merit finalist and lettered in basketball and golf. He has a public policy degree from Duke University and a law degree with honors from George Washington University and studied at Cambridge University. While in Washington, he worked in the U.S. Attorney's Office on criminal justice issues and for the House Banking Committee. He is a director of the Louisville Library Foundation and was a director of the Muhammad Ali Center and the Kentucky African Heritage Center. He and his wife live in the Louisville Highlands. Welcome, Mr. Conway. Tim Coleman of Morgantown has been Commonwealth's attorney for Butler, Edmonson, Hancock, and Ohio counties since 2001. He says he has personally prosecuted more than 4,000 felony cases and has one of the state's highest caseloads, but a low cost per case thanks to new technologies and procedures. He says he is running on his experience and integrity and that the Attorney General's office should not be a stepping stone to other office. After graduation from Western Kentucky University, he was a manager in the transportation business, then got his law degree at UK and was articles editor of the Kentucky Law Journal. Mr. Coleman began his legal career with the Lexington office of the large firm of Jack